difference between a brand that's winning new customers and one with a commercial that's only background noise. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What comes to mind when you hear the word gratitude? Maybe it's a daily practice, or maybe it feels hard to be grateful right now. Don't forget to give yourself some thanks by investing in your well-being. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy provider in the world, connecting you to qualified professionals via phone, video, or message chat. Let the gratitude flow. Visit BetterHelp.com/healthieryou today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/healthieryou.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the hosts and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You're not put here to be a white man's footstool. You're put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, though, man. But I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I'm taking a bit of a risk with today's program. However, I think the juice may be worth the squeeze. I'm glad I play a disclaimer during my show intro, so it is made abundantly clear that my views, my editorial commentary, and that will also cover any guests that I may have on this show, does not reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, because every now and again I may say something controversial for the sake of exploring the argument, to get more, let's say, intellectual depth and clarity out of a subject matter. I don't want to get to a point where I'm so afraid of political correctness to where I'm shying away from topics that need to be discussed, because those topics are going to be discussed anyway. Why not bring them out into the open? But nowadays, you got to be very careful. If you offend any one person, that's what we have to watch out for when we're in this line of work. Whether you're a writer, you're a journalist, you do podcasting, whatever the case may be, you have to worry about how someone that you don't know, someone you've never met, someone you have never interacted with, you have to worry about that unknown human being now or at some point in the future interpreting your words in a way that they find hurtful. It is almost an impossible situation. There is no way that I could ever know who may be offended by something that I say. Therefore, we have the disclaimer. We've had some back and forths on this program as well, because I've said things that may ruffle some feathers, and certainly have hurt some feelings. But feelings are not facts. And I got to be polite when I say this to folks. If I say something, or if any of my guests say something on this program that you just vehemently and fundamentally disagree with to the point where you get angry, then dare I say either that segment, that hour, or this show is just not for you. It doesn't have to be for everybody. And I think that when people listen to things, they want agreement on everything. They want to be 100% on everything. That is never going to be the case. And if I am doing something, I don't care what the endeavor is, where someone is agreeing with me 100%, something is wrong, because if there is no disagreement, there is no growth. We grow through our disagreements. The problem is we have become disagreeable. And as time goes on, it gets worse. And I realize this. So a long time ago, back in the 20th century, maybe in the 80s, maybe in the 90s, we all, for the most part, ladies and gentlemen, we all got the same information. When I watched the 6 o'clock news or the 5 o'clock news, maybe I'm watching the 10 o'clock news, we all were exposed to the same information. When I was in school, we were all exposed to the same curriculum. We read the same books. Now, everyone is exposed to different information. And I proved that fact many years ago when the algorithms really started to get sophisticated. I had a caller phone in, and I came up with a search term. It was kind of a benign search term. It was like, where to adopt a cat, or what's a good field to go into if you want to make a lot of money. Just something just normal and average, right? And I had somebody call in, and I typed in whatever that benign search term was in my Google search box, and I had that caller type in the exact same search term that I typed in. We got different results. And that is true for just about all of us, because our digital footprints are all different. We all look at different things. We all search different things. We all have different interests on the internet. And our algorithms are custom tailored to any and everything we may have searched for in the past. And sometimes the searches are predictive. Even though it's something you may not have searched for, the internets may say, oh, you may be interested in this, so let me throw in these extra articles, these extra references, et cetera, et cetera. Because we are all exposed to different information. It's personalized information. It's individualized information. And some of it is false. It's hard for us to agree, because when you search something, you get one set of results. When Sherwin searches the exact same thing, I get different results. And so what comes up on my search feed, I'm going to think that that's true. I'm going to think that that's fact. And I'm going to use that to bolster my arguments. But you searched the exact same thing I did, and you got totally different results. If you don't believe me, ladies and gentlemen, try this experiment on your own. I wouldn't recommend doing it with a coworker. Do it with your kids. If you got children of any age. Search something, any 3-word search term of anything. But it's got to make sense. It's got to be something somewhat realistic. What has Kamala Harris done? There you go. And if you trend more toward conservative politics, I promise you're going to get different results than someone who is overwhelmingly liberal and progressive. And so that is part of our problem. And we have to have a level of respect for that. So if I say something ever that is offensive to you, or you fundamentally disagree with it, is because when you looked up the topic, or you searched the topic, or however familiar or not familiar with the topic you may be, you receive different results. Now, somewhere in the middle is the truth. The internet is not designed necessarily. When I say the internet, I mean all of the things associated with it. I mean all of the apps that we use and the social media things. It's not necessarily designed to give you the truth. It's designed to keep you scrolling. And if I have to lie to you to keep you scrolling, then I'm going to lie to you. And if you continue to go down the rabbit hole of lies that you have been provided by your TikTok, delete TikTok. I'm not telling y'all again, get rid of it. You're compromised if you're on the TikTok, because TikTok goes deep into your phone. You know, when you agree to the terms of service to use an app, you never read those, do you? Of course not. You don't read those. Well, some apps have access to your phone calls, your address book, your searches, your photographs, and your text messages. And they form an identity based upon information that you already harbor in your device. And they will then show you results based on everything that you have in your phone. Scary stuff. TikTok is the worst. That's why they were trying to ban it. The federal government was attempting to ban the TikToks because of how invasive it is. And then all of that information is being used by the Chinese government so that they can have a specific set of profiles on the American people. And then they can weaponize that, of course. However, I digress. There's an issue that I stayed away from it because it's controversial and it doesn't really affect me. You know, it could affect, maybe it affects you. It certainly affects people. But I look at how significant it has become because in the grand scheme of things, it kind of shouldn't matter. And whenever there's an issue that is, I don't want to call it ambiguous because to some people it is a really, really big deal. Certain things shouldn't be decided by the federal government. In that respect, I'm more of a small government guy. I wouldn't call myself conservative. I call myself common sense. I mean, you guys know the candidates that I vote for and the political party that I vote for, but there's specific reasons as to why I do that. And my reasons may be different than yours. I vote for Democrats because more often than not, they speak to my humanity and they have a history of accomplishment that people like me have used to build lives, futures, and careers. Republicans in the last 30 years, they can't really say that. They can't. They can't say that they have put together policy packages for people that have institutional racism built into our developmental backgrounds. Republicans pretend like, oh, if you just make everything fair, everything will be fair. Nah, not quite. There's also a political party that has demonized the term woke and now has black people hating things that are woke, which is amazing. So I vote for Democrats. But there's sometimes the Democrats go too far. And because of the world that we live in, the Republican Party, it does not currently exist the way you think it does. What you think the Republican Party is some fantasy which may remind you of the Reagan era or the George W. Bush or H.W. Bush era or the Bob Dole era or even John McCain. John McCain is dead and so is his Republican Party. What you have right now is the party of Trump, and I detest it. I'm not going to get into his cabinet picks because they are getting more ridiculous by the day. He is laughing in your face. Donald Trump is making a mockery of you, a mockery of this country. He thinks that we are something to play with because that's exactly what he's doing. He's making a joke. So I can't vote for him, nor can I vote for a Republican. But there are some instances where Republicans want more local control over things. The Democrats try to federalize a little bit too much. They try to make this a national thing. And what happens is the Democrats lose national elections on issues that should be left up to localities and cities and towns and maybe states. States might be going a little bit too far. But I get it. You want to make sure that everybody has the same rights everywhere they go. But sometimes you can't do that. You can't put every damn thing under the federal umbrella. There's a woman named Sarah McBride who made history when she became the first openly transgender person elected to Congress. Now the Delaware Democrat prepares to set up her operations in Washington, D.C. Some of her soon-to-be Republican colleagues are trying to ban trans women from using women's restrooms. Now, before you freak out and try to call me anti-trans, which some of you are going to call me anti-trans anyway, there is a Republican named Nancy Grace. She's from the state of South Carolina, arguably one of the more conservative states in our union. In fact, the state that started the U.S. Civil War. Nancy Grace has been a victim of sexual assault. Nancy Grace, as a woman, biological, cisgender, does not want someone she deems a biological male in the restroom with her. And I cannot disagree with her. I cannot in good faith nor good conscience tell a woman who has been sexually assaulted that she must allow a biological male that may be living their life as a different gender, that they must use the same bathroom. This should not be a federal issue. I think it's one of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost the presidential election. In the grand scheme of things, the transgender bathroom issue is small. I would argue we have much bigger fish to fry. But when Republicans are able to take hold of such an issue, which should be small and relatively insignificant, Democrats lose national elections. Follow me here. Now, when Democrats lose national elections, trans people suffer more. You understand it? So if it's taken out of the national policy discussion and it's a local issue, because there's some places, like you might go to Portland, or you might go to the Seattle in the Washington state, or you might go to the San Diegos in the Californias, or the Reno, Nevadas, where they are totally okay. The people in those cities, the people in those towns, the people in those municipalities might be perfectly fine with transgender people using the bathroom of their choice. But when you make it a national issue, it harms Democrats, because then it gets blown out of proportion. Then people are gonna go to these weird, wild fantasies of big, burly, bearded men. So I'm identifying as a woman, so I can go and use the women's bathroom. And he might be in there creeping around and taking pictures under the stall. That stuff probably doesn't happen, or if it's very, very rare that it does happen. But when you make transgender bathrooms a national issue, the Democrats are gonna lose. And when the Democrats lose, transgender people will suffer exponentially more. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to discuss on the merits the idea of a woman, a congresswoman from South Carolina, Republican, of course, Nancy Mace, who has been a victim of sexual assault, who is vehemently opposed to biological men that may identify as something other than, but I can understand this woman who has been sexually assaulted not wanting to be in a private place, in a private space with someone who was born a man. I understand that, ladies and gentlemen. I think that should be her right. Now, here's the other thing now. There's probably not a lot of transgender people in America. I don't know how many there is. I don't know if there's going to be a census of transgender people. At some point, there probably will be, so we can know exactly what kind of numbers we're dealing with here. But let's just say it's less than 1% of the population. Less than 1%, okay? Should less than 1% of the population be allowed to have an order, have a rule, have a law that can impact the other 99%? We got to look at numbers here. And again, I know this may sound unfair, it may sound anti-trans, but I'm looking out for a political party that when they are in office, they are much better stewards of American policy, because making the trans bathroom issue a national issue is Democrats are going to lose and trans people are going to suffer even more. How do we figure this? I don't know. You got to leave it up to individual places. In the city of Milwaukee, I don't care. If I'm using the bathroom, because when I'm in the bathroom now, I'm about my business. Now I got to get my business taken care of. I don't really care what's going on. And if there's a transgender man in the men's bathroom, I don't think that bothers me, because let me tell you something about men's bathrooms. If the women's bathroom line is long, women will use, biological, cisgender, heterosexual women will come into the men's bathroom and use the bathroom. I don't like that. Personally, I don't like it. I think it's just not a good idea. Sorry, ladies, you got to wait, because guess what? As a man, I can't go in your bathroom if I got to go pee-pee. I go to jail, I go pee-pee in the women's bathroom. And I say, but the men's line was too long and the women's line was too short. I'm going to jail. We're going to flush it out today. I hope. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Come in with straight truth.
We have to make sure that when we talk about making change, when you talk about vote, when you talk about these elections, when you talk about how we're going to get ahead, we definitely got to start paying attention to the local process, because these are the processes that are governing our lives.
Yes.
And they got you looking across the street down
Absolutely.
At Donald Trump. They've got you looking at Project 2025, but you barely got money to stay alive.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive is bringing us all together again to collect toys for children and families in need.
Join Capco and WTMJ for a celebration of giving on December 7th at the Kazmarek Center in Grafton.
This is more than just a toy drive. It's about kids helping kids. We are learning the importance of giving and how that impacts other kids and families all over Wisconsin.
Experience the joy of giving on December 7th.
And don't forget to bring toys.
Help us make a difference this Christmas. Visit kidstoKidstoydrive.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Correction, Nancy Mace. Not Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace isn't she a journalist? Nancy Mace? Nancy Grace? Whatever. It's Nancy Mace. Said she received death threats on Tuesday amid backlash to her proposed legislation to bar transgender women from using the women's facilities on Capitol Hill. Because it's so specific, it's on Capitol Hill. It's not nationally. Quote, they are threatening to kill me over this. Men that want to use women's restrooms are threatening to kill me over this issue, Mace told News Nation's On Balance yesterday. Mace said her concern over who can access single-sex facilities stems from being a survivor of sexual assault and rape. Look, that's all. This is a single-sex bathroom. So maybe here's what the answer is. Because there's a whole bunch of bathrooms that don't specify a gender. It's just bathroom. And it's a single stall. Like we have those here at the Good Karma brands. If you've ever come here to go number 1 or number 2 at the Good Karma brands, we have bathroom. And it's one person at a time. There's no urinal. It's just a toilet. It's a sink. Got some soap. Got other toiletries in there. You got the mouthwashes and you have the things. Maybe that's the issue. You just have a bathroom. Like, I don't really know what to make of family bathrooms. You ever go places, you'll have the men's bathroom. You'll have the women's bathroom. You might even have a, what do we call it? Non-denominational? No, that's religion. Just a bathroom where it's just, you know what I mean? Women's bathroom here. Men's bathroom here. Then bathroom. And then you have the family bathroom. For some reason, I think that family bathrooms are where people go to have sex. I don't get it. Why would the whole family needs to go to the bathroom? Well, I guess if you got a bunch of kids, I'm assuming it has a locking door, the family bathroom. I don't know. I guess I've used the family bathroom if that's the only facility that's available, and I can justify it by saying I'm a member of someone's family. There's no disclaimer saying I have to be with a family, my own or somebody else's, to go in the family bathroom. Maybe that's what the answer is, because we can't make this a federal issue, because what the Republicans are likely going to do, they're going to do some wild stuff in this upcoming Congress. It's going to be just insane how far they're going to go. And I bring up this issue because the way the Trump campaign doubled down on the trans issue, it scared a lot of people. Whether we want to admit it or not, that issue moves a lot of people. Is that the number one reason why Kamala Harris lost the race? No, but it didn't help. They ran this particular commercial 30,000 times. And the Trump campaign, which did not have as much money, they weren't as well resourced as the Kamala Harris campaign. If we want to give her credit for doing one thing right, she raised a bunch of money. She engaged people that otherwise would not be engaged, that probably would not have given contributions. So shout out to her for that, and hopefully the Democrats can keep those pipelines to funding open, because they're going to need all the money they can get to try and claw back some of their legislative seats in the midterm elections. So she did a great job of raising money. But how the Trump campaign spent their money was a lot more strategic. They doubled down on issues that they knew would move voters, and it worked. Essentially everything the Trump campaign did worked. They spent $30 million, which is a lot of money, on one particular ad. Usually if you have an allocation of that kind of money, and this is the Trump campaign, these are not the outside groups, the third-party groups, and the dark money groups. They can spend an unlimited amount of money. This is Trump campaign money. This is what we call hard money. This is money that the campaign spends specifically. This is money that Donald Trump and his campaign raised specifically. So they spent $30 million to run this ad 30,000 times. And I was starting to see this ad a lot, and I was starting to get a little bothered by it, because I knew the frequency in which they were running it meant that this issue was bigger than maybe some Democrats thought. A lot of us just ignored it because we saw a much larger picture and what was looming over the horizon if Donald Trump, in fact, got reelected. Not one of us thought that Trump would get reelected and he would get majorities in the House of Representatives and in the U.S. Senate, combined with his unlimited and unchecked power granted to him by the U.S. Supreme Court, with selections that he was able to put on that court when he was president the first time. But they kept running this ad. And then there was a poll that was done, because we were also noticing this shift. Now, it wasn't a huge one, but in some places it did make a bit of a difference. More black men shifting toward Donald Trump. For those black men that shifted toward Donald Trump, do you feel represented in his cabinet? That's a rhetorical question. Don't waste your time answering that. But it was the trans ad where it said that Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. Very simple. And they had transgender images. They had a bald-headed dude with a mustache wearing a dress and lipstick. Just far-fetched, but it was working. Was that the reason why Kamala Harris lost the election? It was not. It did not help, though. And the Trump campaign saw something in running that ad to where they could move enough voters in enough places to make a monumental difference. When you have an issue like that, that should be decided by how people feel in their cities and their towns. There was just a school board meeting very recently. I think it might have been on Monday. And where was it, y'all? I ignored the story. I saw it, but I didn't prioritize it to discuss, where they had a Kenosha, Elkhorn, somewhere, Whitetail, Deerfield, some little town where they had to have a meeting, a town hall meeting, to discuss what they were going to do about the transgender bathroom issue in either a high school or in a small town school district. That is where that stuff is supposed to be decided, ladies and gentlemen, because if you make it a national issue, it's going to get blown out of proportion. Representative Nancy Mace, the Republican from South Carolina, said she's received death threats on Tuesday amid backlash to her proposed legislation to bar transgender women from using women's facilities on Capitol Hill. Quote, they are threatening to kill me over this. Men that want to use the women's restrooms are threatening to kill me over this issue, Mace told News Nation's On Balance yesterday. Mace said her concern over who can access single-sex facilities stems from being a survivor of sexual assault and rape. She began flagging the issue with fellow Congress member after Representative-elect Sarah McBride, a Democrat from Delaware, became the first openly transgender person elected to Congress. Mace has said she plans to put the bill in the 119th Congress rules package or bring it to the floor as a stand-alone rule. Quote, I want to see which of my male colleagues don't support women up here. I dare them. Like, this is a place where I want your vote. I want it on record. I want to know where you stand. You protect us. Do we have rights as women or not? She told host Leland Vittert. And I'm going to fight like hell for this. This is not something that's okay. It's an absurd idea. And it's the height of hypocrisy and gaslighting to tell women you lose your rights and then a man walks in the room. Not that I want to side with her. You got to be commonsensical now because women have lost some reproductive rights too. And I also don't know, like, what determines, like, how woman do you have to be considered a trans woman? Whose decision is that? And I don't even want to be involved in that decision-making process. But if there are biological women, cisgender women that do not feel comfortable with some other person determining their own gender by their own thoughts and feelings and then accessing the bathroom that they choose, it can be exploited. And maybe it never gets exploited. Maybe it's a very rare situation. But damn, don't we got to side with biological women that don't want someone who is a man using their bathroom? And to be fair, I don't think that women should be in men's bathrooms. And y'all think it's cute. It's not. I've been to Brewers games. I've been to Summerfest. I've been to where else? I don't know if they do it at the 5-Star Forum, but they used to do it at the Bradley Center because women take too long in the bathroom. Ladies, y'all need to hurry up. Get in the bathroom and do your business. Stop gossiping and chatting and taking pictures. Get in the bathroom, do your business, because when the bathroom line is long in the women's bathroom, then a bunch of drunk women come into the men's bathroom. That's not cool, y'all. And y'all know it's not cool. Some of y'all think it's sweet. It's funny. No, it's not. Especially if you are at an event where there's a lot of alcohol going on. And I've seen what intoxicated men can do, let alone when intoxicated women are coming into the men's bathroom, because we just shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing it. I'm going to take a break, come back, continue the conversation. We should just let this be a local issue. And this is not me being anti-trans. This is me saying that, hey, women should be able to make the determination of who are able to use their bathrooms. Simple as that. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Do you need CPR or first aid certification? A&E CPR has got you covered. With over 15 years in the health and wellness industry, A&E CPR is a trusted American Red Cross training provider right here in Milwaukee. Whether it's CPR, first aid, or AED training, A&E CPR classes give you the skills and confidence you need to respond to life-threatening emergencies. They offer online courses and in-person classes. You can even receive your certification the same day you complete the class. So visit ANECPR.com to get certified today. That's ANECPR.com.
Craving something mouthwatering? Head to Munchies, Milwaukee's finest quick service eatery. You'll love their gourmet egg rolls, wings, loaded fries, and fried fish. And don't miss their signature pasta dishes and soul food options. Plus, ask about their upcoming pound cake line. They're open Wednesday to Saturday, 12 to 6 p.m. Visit Munchies on site. Call in your order or get delivery. Follow Munchies on Facebook and Instagram at Munchies Detroit Style. Check out their website at munchiesdetroitstyle.com. Munchies, where your cravings meet satisfaction.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
An integrated strategy, including infrastructure, community involvement, education, enforcement, and legislative reforms. Yeah, we've kind of heard that before already. It can correct pretty much anything, right? They use it for everything except reckless driving in Milwaukee. I want you to consider this now. Expand the number of police officers in neighborhoods where reckless driving is happening, punish with fines, extended license suspensions, use speed and red light cameras. We need to inform people about the repercussions of reckless driving And then we need to follow through with punishment. We need to continue to build speed bumps, roundabouts, narrow the lanes to help traffic slow down. And while you're at it, designate some space for bicycles and pedestrians only. We need to encourage the use of mobile apps to report reckless driving since you're on your phone anyway. And finally, promote local and state legislation that successfully combats irresponsible driving. Yeah, we've heard that before, but no. Just enforce the laws we already have on the books. And by combining this, Milwaukee drivers can enjoy a safe environment that lowers reckless driving, all the risks that come with it. Why? Well, this needs to be the Common Council and the city's primary focus. So perhaps next time there won't be that, dead on arrival traffic bill in Milwaukee Common Council or that traffic bill in state legislature. But then if you're driving, you might want to be careful. I mean, the next thing that's dead on arrival could be you.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Craig sent a text message which further confuses me on the issue. And also, thank you folks in the YouTube chat. It was the Watertown School District. They changed transgender privacy in bathrooms and sports policy. I'm not getting into the whole sports thing. Because, oh my God. It's the new world, though. And when things change, we have to adapt to it, but there's a common sense way in which we can adapt to it. And because when I was in school and growing up, I don't want to say the issue didn't exist, but I can't even use the terminology we used to use back in the day because it would be offensive. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like men that wore makeup and dressed as women. I don't even know what terms I can use because I might offend somebody somewhere listening in Billings, Montana. They might hear this show and get offended. So I can't use the word that we used to use back in the day. Y'all don't know how wild the 80s were and how the stuff that we said back then. You can't say none of that stuff now. There were common terms that we would use to refer to things and refer to people. If you use those terms now, your career is over. Like, you'll never work again. You'll disappear from the face of the earth just by using terms that were common back in the day. Now, look, we've matured and we've grown and we realize that words hurt people. Can't say things that hurt people. Also, we would punch down. You'd pick on people and make fun of people that were underrepresented, that didn't really have a voice of their own. They couldn't really fight back. And that's not fair because that, in some form or fashion, is bullying. But it wasn't the issue some time ago that it is right now. Because it is an issue right now, it does impact people. Someone said in the YouTube chat that it impacts a lot of people. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. It's not a lot of people. It's a rare issue. It is rare. And when something is rare, we got to make a determination how much impact do we want it to have nationally to where everybody is going to be affected by something that I think is very, very small. We're not talking about 140 million people. We're not talking about like the number of people that receive Medicare and Medicaid. We're not talking about a political issue that's that large. We're not talking about investing in public education, something that is that large. It's a small, dare I say, niche issue. And we lump all these things together. And that's something else I learned during the most recent election cycle. LGBTQIA+ are not all the same. In fact, amongst that group, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some letters or some references, amongst that group, they don't even agree. They're not all buddy-buddy. They're not all fighting together for the same rights because some of the G's don't like the T's. And the Q's and the I's and the A's, and then there's the pluses, which is literally everything else. They're not all in agreement, just like all people of color are not in agreement. Every now and again, just to make the argument and to shorten, the conversation, I'll say people of color, but I know that there's distinct differences between people of color because people of color don't all like each other. First of all, I don't even know what makes a determination of people. What's a person of color? Because you can be from Central America and have blonde hair and blue eyes. So are you a person of color? Are we just looking at melanin? I'm black. How's that for you? I'm black. Somebody else who's off black, you can be a person of color, but don't try to associate your struggle with mine because our struggles are not the same. All right, let's see here. What they do in Watertown. The Watertown Unified School District approved a gender support plan, shifting to more restrictive policies for transgender students. The Watertown School District Board had two options: keep the status quo or adopt the new wide-ranging policy. Before voting, board members heard from dozens of community members, parents, and students on both sides of the issue Monday night. The audience filling the Riverside Middle School cafeteria and an overflow room. More than 300 additional people watched the meeting via Zoom. See, it's a local issue, and that's where these things should be decided. See, this is good. This is democracy in action. Many of the attendees at the school held up signs that said "Vote C," referring to option C, gender support plan the board ultimately adopted. The plan includes an amendment that it will not force staff or contractors to violate Title IX rules to protect the board from being sued. Quote, "My goal is to protect the district and to protect the kids," board president David Schroeder said. The other option, option A, has been in effect for 8 years and allowed transgender students to use preferred pronouns and decide which bathrooms to use. An 8th grader who did not identify herself said she now goes to school online because she does not feel safe under the existing policy. "If I go to Watertown High School, I don't want guys in my bathroom," she said. "That could give them the option to hurt any girl. You're taking my safe space. There's a reason bathrooms have signs that say female or male." I can't disagree with that. If women who are of majority in number but are of minority in status because of the statistics that we see against women, and if biological cisgender women want to have bathrooms designated as women's bathrooms specifically for them and people that were born as women, I am not, as a heterosexual cisgender male, going to tell those women no. I'm not doing that. In fact, women should decide that issue, because we can see how women's rights can be eroded. And I know when it comes to the whole safe space thing, I know the only safe space technically is your house. That's the only safe space that we are really afforded here in America. But, there's certain accommodations in public where I think people should be afforded the right to privacy. But then again, what do you do with the transgender person that identifies as a woman? I don't know what to do. And I don't want to have to decide this. Don't make me have to be the judge and the jury on this, because I don't know. Let's talk to the town. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
How you doing?
I'm good.
With the transgender being so low of a number in the population, do you think that's a mistake for the Democrats to I'm not going to say just forget about them or nothing like that, but the LGBT thing, if it's not really an issue to a lot of people, meaning it's not that many people transgender, why would the Democrats go so strong for them? When there are other bases in their it's supposed to be in their coalition that's bigger.
The town, did the Democrats go strong, or did they just want to be inclusive? The Republicans go strong against. I wouldn't say the Democrats went as strong pro-trans as Republicans go anti-trans. Democrats didn't say, let trans people do whatever they want. There was no specific commercials or ads or mailers that were sent to voters that said Democrats are going to do all these things for trans people. I think just Democrats want to be inclusive of everybody and not make any distinctions. Republicans single trans people out.
Okay, for like purely political. Like, okay, if I want to win, because I noticed that too, and I give props. I give props to anybody when they write, no matter how I feel about it. You was right about that, because I noticed that before, and I think, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest things in election. They're for they, them. They're not for you. I don't care how you feel. That right there, that's killer. I think anybody in the I don't know, you in the political realm or in the advertising realm, when it comes to messaging and how quick the message is and it's succinct, that's killer. That's killer. Therefore, them. They are not for you.
But that is the Trump campaign defining Kamala Harris, because they ran it so much, people actually believed it. Like, there was no specific policy on the Democrat side that said, yes, we absolutely are for they, them. If anything, the Democrats want to be inclusive of everybody, including they, them, including the L's and the B's and the T's and the Q's. The Republicans and Donald Trump singled out the they, them and made that an issue and ran the commercial 1,000,001 times. But no, you're right. It had an impact. It did, but I appreciate your call. I got to take a break now. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
We're getting close to awarding someone $10,000. It's the third Thursday networking event featuring the pitch competition, November 21st at Rain Event Lounge, 231 East Buffalo, 5 to 9 p.m. Hosted by the Wisconsin Black Chamber. It's the last chance to qualify for the pitch finale in December. Be there at 5 p.m. to register to compete. Registration to pitch is only open for 15 minutes, so be on time if you want a chance to be a finalist and compete in December for the $10,000 first place prize. The audience chooses the winner at the monthly event, so bring your family and friends to come support you. Let me say that again. The audience chooses the winner at the monthly event, so bring your family and friends to come support you. Third Thursday is not just about the pitch competition, though. There's life-changing networking opportunities, games, prizes, and music by DJ L Boogie. There is no cost to attend our Third Thursday event or compete in the pitch competition, so don't miss out. Rain Event Lounge, 231 East Buffalo, 5 to 9 p.m. Visit twbcc.com so you don't miss out on what we have going on.
This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon. Listen to The Truth all day, every day by downloading the Truth app or streaming on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Stitcher. Milwaukee Black Talk, 101.7 The Truth.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Step inside and experience the craftsmanship of a business founded by John H. Yulee, where he would hand blend custom pipe tobaccos and repair pipes right in the front window. Today, we carry on that legacy with high-quality cigars, cutters, humidors, and curated collections for enthusiasts of all kinds. Explore an exquisite selection of cigars in all sizes and flavors, unwind in luxurious leather chairs, and discover the perfect vintage pipe to suit your taste. Visit us today at 114 West Wisconsin Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. Yulee Tobacco Company, where every moment is a luxury.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. 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 1017thet
Craig says, I think that using trick words to validate you causes problems. Using, quote, I identify as a problem because to identify is proving who or what someone or something is, and you can't prove you're a man inside when you're born a woman or vice versa. So using the word identify is a choice made with the intent to make you believe what they identify as, which isn't factual. Oh, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. To some extent, I think people should be able to choose their own identities. That's one thing. Expecting another human being to respect your choice of identity, that could be another. We are dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, roughly 1.6 million people in the United States that identify as transgender, which is 0.6% of the population ages 13 and older. Adults at 0.5% or 1.3 million people identify as transgender. So this is out of 350 million people, 1 million people. And that's not, it's not an insignificant number. It's about the size of 2 Milwaukees, roughly. The number of people in the country ages 3 Milwaukees. Basically the Milwaukee metro area. That number of people identified nationwide as trans and are likely in various stages of transition. I fairly recently met a person. I got to say this and not get myself in trouble. This was a man, probably in his. I was with a friend, and the friend of mine introduced me to this person. A dude, like 6'3", hat, baseball cap on backwards, wearing a t-shirt, jeans. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Sherwin, nice to meet you. And then he was with another guy, right? Met that guy too. Like, there's no evidence, no outward appearance that would lead me or any of you to believe that this person identified as a woman, but he kept referring to himself as she and was serious about it. And I was so confused. But then at some point I wanted to respect the fact that because they were making it known to me that they identify as a woman, but they weren't outwardly, you wouldn't be able to tell. This was any other regular man that you would see walking down the street. You wouldn't think anything of. I mean, t-shirt, hat on backwards, baseball cap on. Right? No long hair, no makeup, wasn't wearing anything, no feminine clothing, not wearing high heels, like none of that stuff. But he didn't. When I met her, he didn't tell me that he identified as a woman, but he kept referring to himself as a woman, and he was serious about it. If you saw that person that I saw walk into a women's bathroom, you all would say something. Just like if y'all saw me with my white beard walking into a women's bathroom to use the bathroom, you would say something about that. I'm sure you would. Why wouldn't you? You would wonder, what am I doing? Am I up to something sinister? Am I going to harm somebody? Am I going to harass somebody? You would be right in wanting to do that because to some extent, don't we protect women? If I see a man going to the women's bathroom, especially if there's like a child in there, what am I supposed to do? But we're not talking about a large number of people. Now, at the same time, we should not be exclusionary. I just don't know where we draw the line, because if this issue works, and if Democrats can be defined as being more in favor of a small cohort of people, 0.5% or 1.3 million people nationwide, that's going to harm them in winning national elections. And we're going to see over the next 2, potentially 4 years, maybe longer than that, what happens when Democrats lose political power in the United States to Trumpism. So we're going to have to make some serious decisions. And in these decisions we're going to make, there's going to have to be some compromises. And in some of these compromises, maybe some people's feelings are going to get hurt. But at some point, we've got to choose the path politically in this nation that does the least amount of harm. Having Democrats in office, or at least a balance where there's Democrats in the House or maybe Republicans in the Senate, and then whatever party controls the presidency. But if you just have all Republicans controlling government because the trans issue is being used against Democrats, then we got to figure something out, because trans people will suffer infinitely more if Trumpism continues to take root. And they're going to use that issue to spread their ranks. They're going to recruit more people. The MAGA movement, ladies and gentlemen, it's spread. Like a town of unvaccinated people that have been exposed to the measles, it's spread. Sensible Democratic policies and politics needs to be the vaccine. And somebody asked me if I was going to talk about Dr. Oz being appointed to, I don't even know what the position is. He's over Medicare and Medicaid. And let me tell you what, no, I'm not going to talk about it, because this is a part of the Trump strategy. Steve Bannon said this in an interview. They're going to flood the media with sugar honey iced tea. They're going to have one thing more ridiculous than another so that people in the media go absolutely crazy, and it's all that we talk about, so I'm going to ignore that one. I'm just waiting to see if Donald Trump appoints somebody black. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation!
And all our juicy jammers out there,
make certain that you tap into Jam with Juice each and every day so you can quench your thirst.
That is right. You already know you can sip on us every single day, like Benjamin said, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. But that's not all, y'all.
Catch us exclusively on YouTube for our 6 to 7 show.
Yep, only on Thursdays.
Catch Jamming with Juice each and every day on 1017 The Truth.
Now sip on that. Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Vice President Kamala Harris.
Talk with your listeners to remind them of their power and the importance of voting. And the folks in Milwaukee turned out for me and Joe Biden in 2020. You showed what was possible.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you a racist?
Absolutely not.
Is Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely not. No.
And civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you all for speaking truth to power. That's the most important thing, because right now there are those in our community who would rather we just be quiet.
Right.
We have to disturb the peace now more than ever.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We're not going to solve the transgender bathroom issue today on this show. Somebody said, Cross Collin said, I think I'm saying that right, just give them their own restroom that's not male or female. Well, damn. Gender neutral bathrooms was the term I was looking for earlier. Maybe that's just the wave of the future. That way nobody gets upset. But you got to think about a small business. I guess you just have one gender neutral bathroom, right? One stall or maybe two. Just don't put man or woman on the door. But then you can't have multiple stalls, though. So it depends on the square footage of the establishment. Maybe that's how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I know this much. If there are women that are uncomfortable with someone who is in a varying stage of transition, or maybe not transitioned at all. There are some transgender people that aren't going to bother with the hormone therapy. They feel like a different gender on the inside, and that's how they're going to live their life. Now, I'm not over here to tell that person to live their life any differently, because Lord knows I got my own stuff in my life I need to worry about, as you know, instead of looking at what somebody wants to choose to identify as. But if there's someone who feels uncomfortable with that situation, a woman in particular, because we know that women are disproportionately harmed more by men than by anything else. Of all the statistics and the disparities that I talk about, and there's enough to go around, that's for sure, when you adjust for all other causes of death, heart disease, cancer, car accidents, getting hurt, getting killed on the job, when you look at all the other different causes of death, the number one killer of women is men. And when you look at all the other causes of death of men, like fireworks probably kill more men than women do. Women don't really kill us. They'll nag us to death, but I don't think that's measured statistically. So to some extent, we have to give some credence and credibility to 51% of the population. I think men are probably less concerned about transgender man using the men's restroom. We're probably less concerned. I know personally, I don't care. But there's something to be said. If you are going in the men's bathroom and you got to go number one and you got to sit down, then I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. But I'm not in the stall with that person, whatever. I'm not trying to figure that out today. We'll rehash that on another program. Another issue that I think should be on our minds, and it's a political issue, it's a social issue, it's certainly an economic issue. Last week I talked about the high school graduate versus someone with a bachelor's degree. This is a bachelor's degree in anything. The person with the high school diploma contributes in their lifetime about $26,000 more in tax revenue than they will ever receive. Okay? So at least it's a net positive. So if you have a high school diploma over a lifetime of working and you never go back to school, you never get another degree, you're going to contribute about $26,000 more in tax revenue than you will ever receive in any kind of a benefit or any kind of a subsidy. When someone has a bachelor's degree, they contribute $381,000 more than they will ever receive in any kind of benefit or any kind of subsidy. So having more people in your society with at least a bachelor's degree means more tax revenue that we then can divide up and invest in things like education, et cetera. We have a lot of flexibility with that money. It goes up even further as someone gets even higher degrees, master's degrees, and PhDs. And I brought that up to fly in the face of those that say it's not worth it to get a college degree. And there are some people in this nation, depending upon their circumstances and their situation, they never need to go to college. And I'm not going to say it's for everybody, but I will say this. If you are of some kind of a minority status where you can be economically disadvantaged and or discriminated against, getting a college degree is of economic necessity. The jobs that I have had that have provided me with a lifestyle that I would deem comfortable would not have been obtainable for me had I not completed a 4-year degree. They just wouldn't have been available to me. I wouldn't have thought to apply for any of them. I would not have gotten any of those jobs. And also at the same time, we want people with higher levels of education performing certain needed and necessary tasks in our society. You can scream all day long. You think it's a waste of time and a waste of money for people to go to college. But if you have a rare brain tumor and you come to find out that your surgeon only graduated from Custer, you might have an issue with that. Because at some point, we want the most skilled people doing certain kinds of jobs. That doesn't mean everybody. But by and large, when you have a society that is more educated, you have people that are making more money and paying more taxes with their higher income so we can invest in things that can keep us moving forward. It's just basic and simple math. So education is extremely important, especially education for folks who potentially could be economically disadvantaged. People will tell you that their stories of how they made it out of poverty. And maybe they had a special skill. Maybe they were uniquely talented. Maybe they were very good at a sport. That stuff is rare. That is the exception and not the rule, that someone has an athletic ability that lifts themselves and their family out of poverty. There are a bunch of people that are good at the basketballs and good at the footballs and good, what else? The baseballs. The baseballs pays a lot of money. Parents, if you're going to encourage your child, well, your male child, if you're going to encourage your boy to be involved in a sport that makes all of the money, is the baseballs. That's the one that you want to encourage them to go into, because they make hundreds and millions and all sorts of millions of dollars. Baseball is very boring. But they also have a long season. But that's the one where they make a lot of money. But it's very rare that someone who plays baseball is going to go to the major leagues. Basketball, too, it's rare. People will tell you the education that they got, the academic opportunities that they got, help them immensely change their circumstances. And not only their circumstance, maybe the circumstance of their family, maybe the circumstance of their community. So education is extremely important. Personally, I cannot be content. It's a complicated issue, and I don't want to oversimplify it, because it really is a community effort to make sure that we have the best performing public school system that we can possibly have with the resources that we are allotted. That should be a goal for everyone. If you work in Milwaukee, if you live in Milwaukee, if you travel to Milwaukee, if you have anything to do with this city, you should want the education system that we have here to be the best it possibly can be, so we can maximize the talent and the potential of the children that are in this area. That's the very least we should do. Problem is, race and culture and immigration status gets in the way of that. It makes it much more complicated. If there is a child that has unlimited potential, we should not be limiting that child, meaning whatever resources we need to pour into them, we should do it, because this could be the child that cures the cancer. This could be the child that becomes the best president ever, maybe the first transgender president ever. I probably shouldn't have said that. But that's fine if they're a good transgender president, or black or gay or both. Shouldn't be limiting the talent of our children because we're lacking will or resources, whatever the case may be. A problem that I see, and they are numerous. I'm getting to the Department of Public Instruction has released the statewide report card, and I have the details and the results of how MPS performed as a district. Abysmal. Like red flag, sound the alarm, state of emergency. We all should be frightened, worried. This is diminishing the future workforce of the city of Milwaukee. And every year it's the same. Gets a little better, gets a little worse, gets a little better, gets a little worse. None of it should be acceptable. And I'm not even comparing it to the best school districts in the nation, because that should be the only standard. Whatever the best performing school district is, the best elementary school, grade school, middle school, high school, that should be the standard for every school in this country, because America is competitive globally. Yeah, we're competitive with one another, but we're also competitive on the entire planet. So American students need to be the best, the brightest, the most prepared, leading in science and engineering and technology and math and art. We have to lead the world, and we're not. And here's what I fear. I fear people's bigotry is getting in the way because, America's getting browner. As time goes on, America's food is proverbially getting more seasoned. You know what I mean? We're becoming a majority-minority country. Hey, I think it's great. That's wonderful. But to the extent there are people that do not want to invest and pour money and resources in a burgeoning minority America, that's a problem because then the whole damn nation suffers. There was a period of time, maybe when America was great, where we wanted people to go to college. States subsidized university education like we subsidize public schools. Y'all don't pay tuition to send your kids to public schools. No, you might have fees. You might have to pay a little money for the field trips or whatever. You might got to pay a little few dollars for the kid's football uniform or whatever and what have you. But to attend a public school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you don't have to pay tuition because the state is subsidizing that education. Well, we used to do the same thing with colleges and universities until Title IX and civil rights legislation made it easier, I shouldn't say easier, more fair for black people to be able to attend these colleges and universities. And then we had to do an about face, like, wait a minute, now more African Americans, and I'm going to include Latinos as well, and Asians are now going to colleges. What does that mean for the white society in this country? Will these people of color now be competitive against white people? Absolutely. If you want the best and the brightest in every conceivable position in America, then there's supposed to be competition, because isn't that the spirit of America? Competition is healthy. It's why we love the sports ball games so much. We like the competition. Got to compete. We want the best, not the mediocre. Mediocrity is failure in this day and age. And y'all know that. Being average is you get passed over. We need excellence everywhere we can possibly get it because the world is very competitive. Problem is we lost sight of being competitive globally, and instead we focus on being competitive locally. We're competing against one another instead of looking at the big picture. When we start seeing the children of MPS, which is 49% black, thought it was more than that. It's still African Americans are the majority race in the Milwaukee public school system by about 20 points. But until we see that 49% as the future workforce and academic leaders and elected officials and entrepreneurs and corporate CEOs, until we see that 49% as the future workforce of this city, MPS will continue to fail, it will continue to falter, and the district is getting smaller. And they're going to be consolidating more schools and closing more schools. And then we're going to have all of this excess real estate, which should be full. There shouldn't be any empty public school buildings. We should be trying to educate as many children as possible. In fact, in the region, in the area, we should have premier schools where people want to move into Milwaukee so they can send their kids to these very well-funded per pupil schools. But they are not. We are doing ourselves a disservice. And I say that because the issues that we complain about now, some of the social issues, a lot of that stuff is tied to lack of academics. We can alleviate a lot of problems by investing more money in these young people and finding and developing their potential so they can go out and be leaders, so they can finish the job that was started by previous generations. But we are not doing that, meaning until we get our act together, and I say our act, until we see the most troubled youth as the future of Milwaukee, we're going to be talking about these same things for the next 30 years. It's going to take 30 years. It's going to take a generation. So even if we decide today, what's today? November the 20th, 2024. So if we decide today, yep, the children that go to MPS, I'm not even talking about the charter schools. I'm not talking about private schools. The largest school, public school district in the state, until we make the decision collectively, I mean everybody, Republicans and the Democrats, all of the people, make the decision that these children are the future workforce of Milwaukee, of Wisconsin, of the Midwest, of the nation. It's going to take 30 years from that day to get to a point where we can start seeing some measurable progress. So add 30 years to every single day that we are not making that collective decision. So right now we're somewhere in the year 2054, if we make that decision today, if our lawmakers make that decision today, if Robin Vos makes that decision today, we're going to need 30 years. So we're a long way off. So just be forewarned that the issues, problems, and plagues that we are discussing, the social decay of our community, is going to stay the same until we invest in young people and give them something to look forward to professionally. From Madison, following months of extensive engagement with internal and external education partners, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction is updating terminology used to describe performance levels on required statewide standardized assessments. The updated terms are intended to foster conversations promoting student potential and growth at every level. So here's what they did. They basically took the previous terms, below basic, which is easy to understand, basic, which is average, proficient, which is like, oh, you're doing okay, and advanced. And they changed the terms that are, let's just say, softer. They didn't change the standards. They just changed the terms. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk about these new, softer, participation-like trophy terms that they are now using to describe student achievement, because they don't want to say below basic anymore. Well, because that sounds mean. They don't want to say basic anymore. No, we want to say striving. That's the kind of liberalism that I don't like, where they change the term. If kids are doing bad in school collectively, then say they're doing bad in school. Don't soften up the terminology and make it look like they're doing better than they actually are, because all you're doing is shortchanging us. You're essentially lying to us. You are making us feel comfortable with failure, because in the real world, in the corporate world, ain't nobody going to use no soft terminology. You're just not going to get the job. You're not going to get the promotion. You're not going to get the raise that you deserve because you're below basic, not striving. Take a break, come back, continue that conversation. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We do this Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until noon Central Standard Time. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
The Wisconsin Black Chamber presents Black Friday Weekend Diverse Business Expo, Friday, November 29th through Sunday, December 1st. We kick off Friday at 10 a.m. Be there to meet the Powerhouse Business Panel, learn their journey to success, and participate in a Q&A with these successful local business owners. The after party starts at 6:30 with the Legends of Soul, featuring the music of Frankie Beverly and Mays and Quincy Jones, performed by Christopher's Project. Saturday is the Black Chamber Music Fest starting at 10 a.m. with 7 musical performances by local bands. Then the after party starts at 7. Don't miss Poetry Unplugged with Kwabena Nixon. Sunday, the Wisconsin Black Chamber presents the Exposure Fashion Affair starting at noon. If you need some style or want a style of your own, be here. Check out Milwaukee's stylists and designers and join us for the after party. It's Divas of Soul, performed by Christopher's Project. Friday and Saturday, attend the Access to Capital workshops, and all weekend long, jam to the sounds of DJ L Boogie, meet TV and radio personalities, win some great prizes in the raffles, and don't forget to bring a toy for the toy drive. Don't miss out on what we have going on.
Your drink, sir?
This virtual vacation is brought to you by Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport. For the full experience, visit flymke.com to explore our many nonstop destinations. With super convenient parking and low fares, flying from Milwaukee makes traveling so easy, it's like starting your vacation early. Fly easy, fly MKE.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let me define this for you, because when I get into the actual Department of Public Instruction report card, it gets really super technical. But I'm going to try and simplify it as much as I possibly can. It's so technical that if you are a parent that may not be very academically inclined, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a Milwaukee public school, and you want to see the data on how MPS schools are doing, it's extremely hard for you to decipher. So I'm going to do my darndest to try and break it down to where it's easier to understand, because they use like numbers and weird statistics, and it's weird. And so I'm going to try on the fly. I'm going to try and demystify it for you. So here are the words of Jill Underly, who is the current Department of Public Instruction superintendent. She says, "During my time as superintendent and dating back to when I was a district administrator, I've often heard confusion from parents, families, and legislators on what performance terms on tests meant in regards to where students are at academically." And that makes sense, because the statewide report card is confusing. So I agree with Underly right here, but our disagreements are going to begin with this next damn sentence. State Superintendent Dr. Jill Underly said, quote, "We really wanted to hear from our experts, our educators, on how they talk about student performance on tests and try to use the language that they use. So this updated terminology is not only clearer, it also recognizes the endless potential of each of our students as learners." Here we go. The terms developing, approaching, meeting, and advanced. I'm going to say those again. It's very important. Developing, approaching, meeting, and advanced will replace the previous terms that have been used since 2014: below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. To me now, below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced is more simple than developing, approaching, meeting, and advanced. So advanced is advanced. That is what it is. That one hasn't changed. So here's the one. Below basic, failing. Okay? If somebody is failing, you don't call them developing. They're failing. If I brought home an F on my damn report card, I said, "Mama, Daddy, come look at my report card." Sure, when you got all Fs. I'm developing. No, you're not. If you are basic, you're approaching. Approaching what? Proficient and meeting, I guess they could have just left it proficient, because it's the same thing. And then advanced stays advanced. But what I don't like is you'll have a child, and maybe they do this for the kid's self-esteem. I don't know why they change these terms. Some think tank or some consultant somewhere said, "Oh, we shouldn't tell children that are failing that they're failing. We'll say they're developing." There's no guarantee that a child that is failing in every single class is developing. I have no evidence of that. Neither do you. Neither does the child. Neither does the parent. Neither does the district. We have evidence that they're failing. We don't have evidence to say that they're developing. So if a child has all F, then they're not reading on grade level. If you got a 7th grade child reading at a 2nd grade level, you can't call them developing, because they're not. I think that they have, because the overall score for MPS, I think, meets expectations. And out of 100, with 100 being a perfect school district, all of the schools are proficient or advanced, okay? All the schools. That would be a score of 100. MPS score is 57. There are 2 schools in the entire district that are considered advanced, 2 out of over 100. When they say that the district as a whole meets expectations, here's what I think this coded language means. Because somebody got to explain why these children are still failing. But every time the district asks for more money, they get it. They want more money, they get it. You wanted $87 million, we're going to give you $87 million. You want to get $1 billion of COVID money because something, the kids got to get a computer and stay at home to learn during the COVID. Here you go, some COVID money from Joe Biden. Here you go. Wrap it up with a bow. You need another $250 million because, I don't know, something. Here you go. But the district scores 57 out of 100? And they call that meeting expectations. You know what that means? That means it's meeting expectations for you blacks. It meets your expectation because I promise to you, if there was any other school district in anywhere else, Wisconsin, where out of a score of 100, that school district was scoring a 57, they would not say that meets expectations. Now, I'm from the old school now. 57% meant you taking that class over. You failed that class. If you score 57% out of 100 on some kind of an entrance exam to whatever, you're not going to enter. You're not entering. If I'm an employer and I'm giving some kind of proficiency test because you may need to know the things to work in my job, work in my business, you got to know the stuff. You got to know the math and the science and the math. You got to know all the things. You got to know the technology and the terminology. You got to know the algorithms. I don't even know what kind of damn business I have, but I know if you're going to work for me, you got to do good on the test now. And if I give you the test and you get a 57 and you say, but I'm developing, you're going to have to develop your ass somewhere else because you ain't going to develop with a 57% in my business that I own. No, thank you. I want the advanced. And now that's the other question we got to ask ourselves. If somebody is, quote, developing, and they graduate from high school, quote, developing, which means they failed basically everything, where in American society do we have a place for them? Where are they going to excel? Now, there is the chance that they may find academic success later on in life, but statistically, it's rare. I'm actually one of those rare cases. I graduated high school with a 1.4 grade point average, thoroughly convinced that I was stupid. I had maybe 3 teachers, maybe 4, I can name them all, that had any kind of faith or belief in me and saw potential in me that I didn't see or nobody else saw in me. And because of those 4, I think I became what I ultimately became. The glowing success that you hear every single morning on the radio. But it's rare. I'm a rare case. It was dudes I looked up to that sold dope that believed in me more than everybody else did. And that would have been an easy route for me. Now, had I taken that route, I certainly would be dead or in jail or probably both. But it's rare that a black child that barely graduates from high school goes on to achieve great success. It happens. It does, but we can't count on that. So let me take some phone calls here, and then we're going to take a break. I'm going to get into the district report card, which should anger all of us, but it's also a call to action. I also want to see 85% voter participation in the upcoming school board races we have in 2025, because I know y'all can do it because you did it for the Kamala Harris's and the Donald Trump. Why would you not do it for the school board? Because the people that I believe we need on that board would never run, because if we get 10 or 15% voter turnout for school board elections, then those people that we need would never win. Right now, we get the board members that can get elected with 10% of the vote. 10% of the vote is not representative of what our community actually needs. We need the full depth of our democracy, that 85% number, to be voting in these school board elections. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hey, what I was going to say with the transgender, I would just go on and give them their own separate bathroom to cut all the nonsense. But what I want to say, with all the people that's doing the raping right now, they're the straight teachers and the straight men. So if women feel they're going to be raped, it's probably going to be by a woman or probably by a man, where we see in these high schools, like with the school teachers getting 19 charges for trying to pay the boys to, scratch the cat, or the men up here raping, 3 and 4 year olds and stuff like that. And I think the other reason they use the LGBT or the transgender, because they know it's an easy target. But they don't say nothing about the Catholic Church, who said the Virgin Mary was a whore for over 1,400 years. They never speak about the men in the Bible, and all of them had multiple wives, and they were disease carriers, and they were nickel holes too. So it's just another way of trying to, pick an easy target. And then let's be honest, when I be out in these streets and I go to the bars, men and women, they're using the same bathroom. When I'm at the gym, women will walk right in the men's locker room like it's nothing,
Well, wait
and ain't
a minute.
nobody.
What gym you going to where they doing that at, man?
They doing it at all the gyms.
Women just walk into the men's locker and just walk in there.
Yeah, like they work there. They're walking there. Men might be getting naked, and they're walking there and cleaning. Them women didn't seen it before. Them men ain't getting upset, and the same with the women. They'll be like, "Hey, baby, I'm coming in to clean." Either you gonna cover up, or you just gonna go on. But some people got the Yamasachs. Ain't nothing we can do about that. But the ones who got the Maxwell Polishes, they live comfortably. But just give the people their own bathrooms. Their own bathrooms. But see, the other thing is, some people mentally have not grown, so they use this psychological warfare. So that's all they're doing right now. But when you go out to the clubs and the bars, the women are walking in the men's bathroom, using the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. And the only reason they're probably getting upset with the transgenders, you got to keep in mind, when they bring up transgenders or anything, that's the perversion, because that's what they usually mess with or want to mess with. So they got to put it on the forefront, so when they step out with their sneaky link, they can go on and do what they want to do. And one more thing before I go, I just want to tell y'all, make sure y'all brine them turkeys before you cook them next week. Don't be serving no dry turkey. Make sure you brine them turkeys and bust that back open and get that good old seasoning, that butter, and rub it all through that turkey and all up, under that skin, so it can be nice and moist and, melt in your mouth with all that other stuff. So I just had to call in, share that other information. And I know if you don't know, hell is already breaking out in this stuff with all that Trump, because there's a lot of Republicans already raising hell with Elon Musk. And what they've been saying is that Trump is getting tired of Elon Musk because he's too clingy and he's starting to get on his nerves. So I'm just going to hang up and listen. But y'all get off them transgenders, because they've been doing all kind of stuff in that book and in that thing you follow, and y'all shutting the hell up and y'all ain't saying nothing. Y'all remember this? The boys and girls that have intercourse, kill them, but keep the virgins for yourself. Now, where they do that at? Okay, I'm going to hang up. I got to go. Y'all have yourself a good day. Brine them turkeys, y'all. Don't be serving no dry meat. Okay, bye-bye.
Cooking with Al? Only Al could turn cooking and recipe suggestions into something freaky. Bust the back open of that turkey. All right, I'm going to take a break, and we're going to talk to someone on the other side that is going to provide a lot of clarity, a lot of understanding, and bring some sense to this very complicated conversation. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
It's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream, and then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really organize orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance, like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Do you need CPR or first aid certification? A&E CPR has got you covered. With over 15 years in the health and wellness industry, A&E CPR is a trusted American Red Cross training provider right here in Milwaukee. Whether it's CPR, first aid, or AED training, A&E CPR classes give you the skills and confidence you need to respond to life-threatening emergencies. They offer online courses and in-person classes. You can even receive your certification the same day you complete the class. So visit anecpr.com to get certified today. That's anecpr.com.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/the reason to get started.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Data released by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction yesterday showed that 84% of Wisconsin public schools met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations for the 23-24 school year. The number is up slightly from the 2022-23 school year, when 83% of the state's public schools met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations. It's about the same as the 2021-2022 school year, when 84% of public schools met those thresholds. The numbers include districts represented by just one school in some cases. Looking at school districts as a whole rather than individual schools, 94% in the 23-24 school year met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations. That's the same as the previous school year. Some private schools are also given state report cards if they receive public funding through voucher programs. Of those that were scored, 85% met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations in the 23-24 school year. That's an increase from 2022-23, when 80% of those private schools met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations. Milwaukee Public Schools receives a, quote, meets expectations rating for 2023-24. That was the same rating it received for 2022-23. So I'm going to go into the details of what entails Milwaukee Public Schools meeting expectations. The district as a whole, when it's all measured and weighted equally, all of the schools, all of the student achievement, all of the performance, all of the test scores and the English and the math is a failure. It is a failing district. It is a district that is not adequately preparing young people for either a world of work or a world of higher education. They are coming, most of the students, black students in particular, are coming out unprepared. Now then we have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with them? If you are unprepared for the world of work and unprepared for the world of higher education, what are we going to do with you? For a long time, the answer has been build them jails. Now, if we don't want that to be the answer, then we have to work on their level of preparation when they're coming out of these schools. And this is a community effort. Some of it is social, some of it is family, some of it is political, some of it is racial. But this is an everybody problem. Each year, the Department of Public Instruction produces report cards for all public schools and districts, publicly funded charter schools, and private schools participating in the Parental Choice Program. The report card rate performance in a given school year and are a way to measure how schools and districts are doing overall beyond standardized exam scores. On those report cards, the Department of Public Instruction focuses on 4 priority areas. I'm going to get to those in a second when I pull up the data. They are achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track to graduate. I'm going to pause there and talk to our education expert. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Sherwin. It's 2 points I would like to bring up, and you're not going to agree with them. And so, I'm going to hit the streets anyway, and I'll listen to your comment afterwards. The 2 points are this. My mother once said, education, education. My father said, work hard and don't steal. Forget education. And so I used all 3 to excel in the best way I could. I mean, I want to also tell you how Trump lost. Now I know why Trump lost, but I just wanted to
wait. Hold on. This. You want to explain why Trump lost?
I mean, why he won.
Oh,
that's right.
All right then.
Now that's a hard subject you brought up about LGBTQ, whatever.
Hold on, wait. About who? I just want to make sure that everybody is clear.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, Bob, just say it, please. I didn't hear you.
I can't say that word. LGBTQ, whatever. All right. Now listen. I know why he won. Now I'm relaxed. I know they don't really practice that church. They don't really practice that and believe in it. And some of them do, but but a lot of them don't.
Ooh.
Republicans.
Oh, okay.
God, the reason God made it sure that that's the reason Trump won the election.
Because of God.
He controls that, man. He really does. I mean, he controls that.
God favored Trump.
No. LGBTQ. That is why. That's what I believe. And now I know they're not going nowhere because it was phony. A lot of them believe in it, but a lot of them, they use it.
Who is they?
Like the Republicans, like when you ask the woman, is Trump prejudiced? When you had that commercial, she said no. And she said she wasn't prejudiced, but her policies are. So now I know they are going to have Republicans that stand in the way of Trump. I don't care who he gets. They will not move in his direction the way he wants them to. They'll move in a logical direction. But she lost that election. Because, I kind of okay with LGBTQ.
Stop saying it. Stop saying it.
But I can't stand to see 2 men kissing. I mean, I see it on TV, I turn it off. If an LGB live next door to me, he can borrow my lawnmower. Then if he goes out of town, I'm gonna cut his grass. If he asks me to, I'm gonna speak to him.
You gonna cut his gay grass?
And see, there you go. And then if he speak, I'm gonna speak to him. That's my neighbor.
Oh, you gonna talk to him like a human being? Oh, wow! Look at you.
But am I gonna go? But am I gonna go when he gets married? No. Am I gonna go to the bars he drink in? No.
Why? You're homophobic, Bob. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you. First of all, you too damn old. They don't want you.
I'm not. They're human beings, no matter what.
But you ain't gonna go to the same bar that they go to. Bob, you would love it at a gay bar. You would love it.
Oh, please. I mean, and I don't want to say it negatively. It's just that, they're human beings and they deserve not to be chastised. And the Republicans played the game, and they're going to lose a lot of support in a lot of ways because they played the game. Trump doesn't really care one way or another. He's not fit for office, and many of the people along with him are ridiculous.
All right, thank you. I think you need to wrap it up now. Just wrap it up. Tie it up with a bow now.
All right, that's it. Now I'm going to hit the streets. I'll talk to you.
All right, Bob. Bob, you need to take a nap. All Bob needs is his medication and some sleep. So that phone call, for those of you that heard it, that's why we need education. That's why we need. That was below basic. That's what that was. What's the new terminology? What is it? Achieving? Or what they call it? What's the worst one? The worst category. The one that's below basic that they changed it to. Whatever it is, that's Bob. All right, I'm going to take a break, come back. Good God. LGB 3592. Oh, LBG Oaktown 357. I'll cut his grass. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Milwaukee Health Services Incorporated is celebrating 35 years of serving all income and medically underserved populations of Milwaukee's metropolitan area. MHSI is a one-stop shop that provides medical, radiology, dental, pediatric, behavioral health, pharmacies with affordable medications, and more. Also, MHSI's new family medicine residency program, located at the Isaac Cobbs Heritage Health Center, has brought 28 family doctors to our area, which is significantly impacted by healthcare workforce shortages. Become a new patient today. To schedule an appointment, call 414-372-8080. Your health is their business.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The new terms are developing, approaching, meeting, and advanced. The original terms were below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. All right. Milwaukee Public School System, grades K3 through 12. Enrollment, 66,842 students. Open enrollment participation is 3.5%. Milwaukee Public Schools is a diverse district that welcomes all students, preparing them for success in higher education, post-education opportunities, work, and citizenship. MPS is committed to providing an educational environment that is child-centered and supports achievement while collaborating with students, families, and community for the benefit of all. Demographic student groups: American Indian or Alaska Native, 0.4%. Asian, 8.8%. Hispanic or Latino, 28.1%. Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 0.1%. Two or more races, 4.2%. White, 9%. Black or African American, 49.5%. Out of a score of 100, considering these priority areas of achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track for graduation. Remember, of those groups I just mentioned, achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track for graduation, the maximum score is 100. MPS scores 58.2. In the area of achievement, statewide, English and language arts is out of 100. Statewide districts or statewide public schools scored a 58.3. MPS scores a 32.5. In mathematics, statewide school districts scored a 57.6. This is out of 100. MPS scores a 23. In the area of achievement, out of 100, MPS scores 27.8. In the area of growth, out of 100, statewide schools scored a 66. MPS scored a 71.7. So this must mean improvement. In mathematics, statewide schools scored a 66. MPS scored a 62.2. Remember, those scores are out of 100. For the category of target group outcomes, this is out of 100. MPS scored an 8.8 out of 100. For growth, MPS scored a 78.4 out of 100. For chronic absenteeism, meaning in this category of chronic absenteeism, a 100 means no kids miss any school. So the higher the number, the lower the absentee. MPS scored a 45.2. On track for graduation. No, graduation, 74.8 out of 100. For chronic absenteeism, the rest of the state schools scored an 80.2. So the best way I can demystify that is 80% of the children in other schools, public schools, miss less than 10% of the school days, okay? So 80% of other public schools around the state miss less than 10%. And 10% is 18 days, by the way. That's a lot of school to miss. So 80% of the students statewide miss less than 10%. In MPS, 51%. Meaning half of the students at MPS missed more than 10% of the school days. Third grade English language arts. State schools scored a 57. MPS scored a 26.8. Eighth grade mathematics. This is out of 100 now. The average for statewide schools, public schools, is 54.5. MPS scores a 20.0. Distribution of schools by rating significantly exceeds expectations. 2 MPS schools, or 1.3% of MPS schools, significant expectations. 2 exceeds expectation. 22, or 14.5% of the schools, meets expectations. That's 42 schools at 27.6% of all schools that meet expectations. 43 schools meets few expectations, or 28.3%. Fails to meet expectations, 35 MPS schools. So basically, half of the schools in MPS either meet few expectations or fail to meet expectations altogether. Let's see what we got here. Achievement. This priority area summarizes how the district students performed on state assessments using points-based proficiency systems that give partial credit for approaching performance and extra credit for advanced performance. The score is a multi-year average of English, language, arts, and mathematics component scores. The district score was 0.8% higher than districts in the state. So out of 100, MPS scores 27.8. Student group achievement. Out of 100, Asian students scored a 53.4. American Indian or Alaska Native students on student group achievement scored a 42. This is out of 100 now. Hispanic or Latino students scored a 43.9. Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander students in MPS scored a 43.1. Multiracial students scored a 52.1 out of 100. Economically disadvantaged children scored a 37.2 out of 100. English learner, these kids don't even speak no English, earned a 35.9. Students with disabilities earned a 16.6. Black students scored a 30.1. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The Milwaukee Panthers are back in action Tuesday night as they head to Pittsburgh to take on the Duquesne University Dukes.
Lead ahead where Lyric Davis rises up to send it in. Again, the Panthers have Stillwell with 16. Franklin buries a 3 left at the top. He makes it 86-49. He's got 8.
Scott Warris has the coverage Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 6 o'clock.
1017 The Truth and Associated Bank have teamed up for our Black-owned business give back. Each quarter, we'll be giving away $6,000 worth of free commercial advertising for 3 months to 5 Black businesses. To sign up for your business's chance to win $6,000 of commercial campaign marketing on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. That's blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank, member FDIC.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways about how we can live, prosper, and provide energy for our world while protecting our planet. Engineers are answering the call to create cleaner, safer, reliable energy. Solar power, harnessing the power of the sun to light all corners of the globe. Wind power, channeling a simple breeze to bring electricity to our homes. Hydropower, using the natural flow of water to generate electricity. Nuclear power, engineering advanced reactors that are safer, more reliable, and produce zero carbon emissions. Engineers are leading the way and empowering the next generation. Engineers answer the call. Brought to you by the National Academy of Engineering. Learn more at nae.edu.
You're listening to the new 101.7 The Truth, founded in partnership with Associated Bank. Your money works here. 101.7 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We are going over the state report card and looking how the Milwaukee public school system compares when we look at other schools around the state, but then also diving into the performance of MPS students. So in the language arts standardized tests and the mathematics standardized tests, 87% of the students at MPS participated in that test, which is a fairly high number. And in mathematics, slightly more at 87.2% of all MPS students took the mathematics standardized tests. All right, for this most recent school year in which we have data, 35,686 students took these tests of language arts and mathematics. American Indian or Alaskan Native students, 2.5% of them scored advanced. 20.8% of American Indian or Alaska Native students scored meeting expectations. 35% of Native students are approaching, so below basic. And the worst category, failing, 41.7% of Native American students. So it's, hang on a second. Let me make sure I get these terminologies right. This is why this gets complicated. So if you're just like a parent, developing, approaching, meeting, and advanced, below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. Okay, below basic and basic. All right, let me get these. Okay, got it now. So developing is failing. Approaching is basic. Meeting is proficient, and advanced is advanced. All right, let's try this again. How about the Hispanic and Latino students? So 10,566 of those students took these standardized tests. Of the Hispanic or Latino students at MPS, 2.7% of them scored advanced. 22.1% met expectations. 35.5% scored approaching. And 39.7% scored developing. So approaching is proficient. Am I doing this correctly? Yes. Below basic, basic, proficient, advanced. Below basic and basic. Okay. I don't know why this is so damn confusing for me. How about the black students? How did the blacks do? This is in English and language arts. 16,608 African-American students took the English language arts proficiency test. That is the largest racial group in MPS, 16,608 black students. 1% of black students scored advanced. Just 1%. 12.3% met expectations in language arts. 32.6% scored basic, and 54.1% of black students scored below basic. Black students did worse than English learners. English learners scored 46.6% of them scored in the lowest category. Black students scored 54.1%. So the majority of black students are below basic in English and language arts. So kids that don't even speak English did better in English. Where are the white kids at? 17.9% of the white students in MPS are advanced. 42.3% met expectations. 24.3% were proficient, or basic rather. 15.5% were below basic. That is the highest scoring racial group. So basically looking at English and language arts, white kids are better. They are. So says the data. Why are white kids, whose fault is that? Why are the white kids quintupling the score? No, it's more than that. White kids did 17 times better in the advanced category in English and language arts. Black students have 1% that scored advanced in English and language arts. White students scored 17.9%. So basically 18 times better than black students. Why is that? Because is it racism? Is it poverty? Is it the police? Can anybody assign a reason to that? Let's go to math. Well, these scores are going to be a treat, I'm sure. Let's start with the white kids. How are the white kids doing math? 14.7% of white MPS students scored advanced in math. 35.7% met expectations. 28.1% are approaching, and 21.5% are developing. Remember, developing is the lowest category. How the black students do? Well, at least the black students are consistent in how many are advanced. Only 1% of black students at MPS scored advanced. 8.4% of black students met expectations in math. 25.8% are in the category of approaching. And then 64.7% of black students are below basic in math. So our kids can't read and can't add, huh? So these numbers should ring alarm bells for every race and ethnicity in the city of Milwaukee. Let's see what other doozies we have in here. Target group outcomes. This priority area examines outcomes for students with the lowest test scores, the target group. It is designed to promote equity by helping districts focus on learners who need the most support while also improving outcomes for all students. The priority area score combines component scores for achievement, growth, chronic absenteeism and attendance, or graduation rate. Data not displayed when target groups have fewer than 20 students. MPS scored a 53.3 out of 100. On track to graduation. If all of the students in MPS were on track to graduation, this priority area score would be 100. MPS scores a 53.4. Third grade English language arts. Statewide, students scored 57.0 out of 100. For third grade language arts, MPS scored 26.8 out of 100. Graduation. Statewide, out of 100, 92.0, so essentially 92% of the students statewide are on track for graduation. And MPS, it is 70.9. Eighth grade mathematics, statewide public school students scored 54.5 out of 100. MPS scored 20.0. On track to graduation, additional information. Let's start with Asian students in MPS. Asian students, 28.8% of them are on track to graduation. That ain't bad. American Indian or Alaska Native students, 66.8% of them are on track for graduation. All students in MPS, on average, 50.3% of them are on track for graduation, meaning half of the students in MPS are not on track for graduation. Two or more races. 47.4% are on track for graduation. English learners, 35.9% are on track for graduation. Students with disabilities, 59% are on track for graduation. Well, this rate looks encouraging here for the Black or African American students. What? Nope, wrong. This is chronic absenteeism. Never mind. Forget all that I just said. Here we go. Graduation rates. See, this is confusing. They make it hard to read on purpose. Student group graduation rates. Okay, this is what we want. This table shows, I know I'm making this more confusing, but trust me, it's very confusing to read. This table shows for each of two cohorts the percentage of students starting high school together who graduated by 2022-2023. The 4-year rate pertains to students who started high school 4 years earlier, and the 7-year rate pertains to students who started school 7 years earlier. Okay, so they're comparing graduation rates to students that graduate or that started school in 2000. No, that's not even right. So 7 years earlier versus, I don't know what the hell this is. Let me just look at the numbers. I know I'm not doing us any favors by botching this mess. All right. Black or African American students. 1,662, a 61.1% graduation rate. Latino students, 67.4% graduation rate. White students at MPS, 77.5%. Even that is low for white students. 77.5% graduation rates. 2 or more races, 65.3% graduation rate. English learners, 69.1% graduation rate. Students with disabilities, 43.2% graduation rate. Post-secondary preparation. State report cards are required to include data on pupil participation in various post-secondary preparation opportunities. All data are for grades 9 through 12. Oh, this isn't bad. In MPS, 30.8% of the students are taking advanced courses. Statewide, that is 21.1%. Dual enrollment means kids that are taking some high school classes and some college classes. MPS, that's 3.4%. Statewide, that's 25.7%. Children that are taking industry-recognized credentials, so taking classes that a job or an employer will look at. In the district, it's 0.2%. Statewide, it's 4.7% of students are taking classes that are recognized by various industries. And then work-based learning, something like maybe the trades or internships where there are corresponding classes that correspond to real-world jobs. 0.7% of MPS students are in work-based learning classes. Statewide, that number is 8.5%. I know I botched this, but it's really hard to read. So what is this? This table compares the percentages of students in the district participating in different types of post-secondary preparation opportunities. These numbers are way too low to read. You guys care about art? Arts course information? 35.1% of MPS students are involved in some type of arts course. Statewide, that's 29%. 0.4% of MPS students are involved in dance. 14.3% of MPS students are involved in some kind of music program. Statewide, that's 19.2%. And theater programs, or kids involved in theater, and MPS is 2.1%. Statewide, it is 2.2%. Shout out to the theater kids. Y'all are weird, and I think you're fantastic for it. This table compares the percentages of students in the district completing different types of arts courses. That's no good. All right. Did any of that make any sense? Why not do this? Why not post this data in the Hughes Views Facebook group so you all can look at it at your leisure and decipher? There's one part I really messed up because it almost reads in reverse. I think I need to do that part again. It wasn't target group outcomes, on track for graduation, but it looked at chronic absenteeism. Student group chronic absenteeism. Oh, Oh, that's what it is. The percent. That's why the black number was so high. It's chronically absent. 62.3% of black students are chronically absent. White students are 23.9% chronically absent. What about English learners? 35.9% of them are chronically absent. Students with disabilities, that would make sense, though, why students with disabilities would be 59% chronically absent, because they got disabilities. They sometimes can't come to school. Statewide, the rate is 19.7%. So that's still too high as well. 19.7% of students statewide are chronically absent. African-American students are 62.3% chronically absent. You can't do good in school if you're not there, because you're missing a lot of the schoolings. Who else? What about the Hispanics and the Latinos? They're 44.1% chronically absent. So in the measurable categories, Latino and Hispanic students are outpacing black students. White students are outpacing them both. The largest disparity in MPS is between African-American student performance and student achievement in every measured area and white students. So I have a bunch of questions regarding that. Whose fault is it? What do we need to focus on? Who needs to focus on what? Where do we need to invest more money? Because these areas are, like, the disparity is vast between black students and white students. Now, the other troubling thing is white students are a hyper minority in MPS, a hyper minority, and probably concentrated in certain and specific schools, because if you segregate almost in reverse, right? If you know that white students are going to these particular schools on the east side or on the west side or wherever, then you can pour additional resources into those schools because you know that's a majority white student body. But they are doing, which one was it? An advanced in math. Is that the one? Where white students are 18 times more advanced in math than black students. And I look at the advanced category as almost the only one, because in the real world, it is those people that have advanced skill sets in core academic areas that are likely to do the best, perform the best, get the jobs, get the promotions, et cetera, et cetera. So being advanced in math and English and language arts will probably be a good predictor of their future success in professional endeavors and if they go on to college. And black children are just suffering tremendously. 1% of black children are advanced in English and language arts. White children are 17.9% of them in MPS are advanced. Who do we blame for that? Is that just pure racism? Is that the parents' fault? Is it the teachers? Is it school discipline policies? Because that is a disparity that cannot be ignored. We need more than 1% of black students advanced in language arts. Let me go to mathematics here for clarity. Same thing, 1% of black students at MPS scored advanced in mathematics. With white students, it is 14.7%. So they're 15 times more likely to score advanced in mathematics. Let's take a break. Come right back. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back in a couple minutes.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune in to the award-winning 1017 The Truth's Business Spotlight this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. between The Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. Me, your girl Noni Juice, will be joined by Tamara Castle, CRA Mortgage Loan Officer at Associated Bank. Tamara and I will discuss their first-time homebuyer's guide and how Associated Bank can help you get started on your home buying journey. So again, tune into the Business Spotlight with Associated Bank this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Reproductive justice, it's a framework, it's a movement, it's a vision for reproductive freedom. It's a right to have a child. It's a right to not have children. And this next part is really as important as the other parts. It's the right to birth and parent our children with dignity, and the right to live and parent our children in safe and healthy environments. So reproductive justice understands the ability of any person to control their destiny is directly related to the conditions of their communities. It looks at the intersections of discrimination in social, political, and economic systems, and it sheds lights on the barriers that these systems produce. And then we, reproductive justice advocates, fight against the barriers that prevent Black people and other people of color from exercising their rights. That's reproductive justice.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
Tired of having to decline food at a potluck where you don't know where the food came from?
Don't you let your cats on your kitchen counters?
Host your next holiday with Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, now booking holiday office and corporate parties, or perhaps a private chef for your intimate family holiday gathering, or add to your Thanksgiving meal. Pick up sides such as Southern-style cornbread dressing, candied yams, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and more. And for desserts, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie. Connect on Facebook or Instagram, Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, or call 414-216-3469.
Step inside and experience the craftsmanship of a business founded by John H. Hughes, where he would hand blend custom pipe tobaccos and repair pipes right in the front window. Today, we carry on that legacy with high-quality cigars, cutters, humidors, and curated collections for enthusiasts of all kinds. Explore an exquisite selection of cigars in all sizes and flavors, unwind in luxurious leather chairs, and discover the perfect vintage pipe to suit your taste. Visit us today at 114 West Wisconsin Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. Yulee Tobacco Company, where every moment is a luxury.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All students in the state of Wisconsin have a 90.4% graduation rate. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Assuming that some of those, the 10% that did not graduate on time statewide, maybe they go get a GED, maybe they return to school at some later point. So a 90.4% of current public school students in the state, 90.4% graduation rate ain't horrible. All students in MPS, all races, have a 65.8% graduation rate. You would not want to move to the city of Milwaukee unless you can afford to send your child to a private school. There is no way that any person who is looking to relocate here, like if you have a job transfer in Milwaukee and you've got school-age children or you want to start a family here, you won't want to send your kids to school in this district. And I wouldn't blame you and wouldn't be mad at you if you chose another option. A 65.8% average graduation rate at MPS. And so these are children that started, so they do, there's two measurements, right? There's kids that started school at 1 year, and then there's the children that started school 7 years before them, and they're actually comparing these two groups to see if the children that started school more recently are improving over the kids that started school 7 years prior to them. So it looks like the children that started school 7 years prior had a higher graduation rate. So younger children, well, they're adults now, have a 3% lower graduation rate. So the 7-year cohort, these are kids that started school 7 years prior to the 4-year cohort, had a 93.6% graduation rate. I'd imagine that may have gone down somewhat because of COVID. COVID probably impacted these numbers. I don't know how drastically it did. But the kids that started school most recently have a 90.4% graduation rate. Let's compare the black and the white students. All right, black students with the younger black students have a 61.1% graduation rate. Black students that started school 7 years before them had a 73.4% graduation rate. So our graduation rate for our black students is actually getting worse as time goes on. How about white students? The younger white students had a 77.5% graduation rate. White students that started school 7 years before them had an 82.8% graduation rate. So there is something that is trending where graduation rates, it looks like across the board racially, are all going down. What is this group right here? Native American students. Native American students, the younger cohort, the 4-year cohort, had a 48.5% graduation rate. Native American students that started school 7 years before them had a 73.7% graduation rate. What happened, my Native brothers and sisters? What is this? No, where's the other scores at? Third grade English and language arts, out of 100. Statewide was 57 out of 100. MPS scored 26.8. Eighth grade mathematics, statewide, out of 100. The average score is 54.5. MPS scored a 20.0. This is eighth grade math. And then graduation, this summary of graduation rates right here on this scale, it says statewide the graduation rate is 92.0 out of 100. MPS, the average is 70.9. So our students are underprepared, which does not bode well for their futures. But also imagine if you are an employer and you got a big old grant from the city of Milwaukee to have an office, a headquarters in the city of Milwaukee. And you being the CEO or the COO or the CFO of this business, you got a big old grant to build a headquarters in downtown Milwaukee, or maybe somewhere in the outskirts, maybe on the northwest side where Northridge used to be, where we need development as much as we can get out there. And you got this big old grant. City of Milwaukee is going to give you a whole bunch of land. They're going to forego your property tax payments for maybe 20 years. If your business, your company, your firm, your corporation decides to build its headquarters in Milwaukee. So we'll have the mayor and other elected officials, maybe state senators, maybe state assembly people. They'll go and travel around the country and they'll meet with corporate CEOs that are looking for a new North American headquarters. And our elected officials, and elected officials are supposed to do this. They're supposed to sell Milwaukee to employers, so those employers come here, they hire people here, and then eventually those people that they hire are paying income taxes and sales taxes, and eventually those people that those employers that we would coax or we would convince to come to Milwaukee, their employees would buy houses in Milwaukee, increasing our property tax revenue, etc. So we want our elected officials, especially the higher-ups like the governor and other folks, our members of Congress and the U.S. Senate, go travel to other states, maybe you can go travel to other countries and encourage big businesses and Fortune 500 companies to have a headquarters or a home office in Milwaukee. And they may do a good job of selling Milwaukee. Oh, Milwaukee is a great city on a great lake, and we got the Summer Fest, and we got all of the festivals, and we got the night market, and we have the state fair that smells like cow poop. Bring your company and your corporation to Milwaukee. We'll give you a whole bunch of free land. We'll forego your property tax payments on the land that we give you. We can make Milwaukee sound very attractive. But then when those employers say, yes, we'll come and build our new headquarters, our new North American home office in Milwaukee, sounds good to us. Those employers are going to want to know, well, how are the students in the public school systems performing? And they want to know that for a number of reasons. Because they, who would also move to Milwaukee, because that's where they're going to be building their new corporate headquarters, their North American home office, they may have school-age children themselves. Or they may want to start a family at some point after their move to Milwaukee, where their new North American headquarters is going to be. They're going to look at these scores and they're going to say no thank you. And that is important because that business, that company, that firm, that corporation that we could convince to come to Milwaukee and build their new North American headquarters will see this data and not come. That means that all of the other job seekers in Milwaukee that could benefit from that company, from that corporation, from that firm moving here will not be able to get those jobs because they'll look at this data of the MPS report card and they'll say, no way. That means that Milwaukee does not have an educated enough potential workforce. That means that with the student performance and student achievement, they probably won't do well in trade school. They probably won't. Not, this doesn't mean that they won't. It's just statistically, it's hard. If your graduation rate is 61% for black students, expecting those black students to become advanced in a very short period of time to where this employer is going to need them in their workforce is a risk that most corporations and corporate boards would say, we can't do that. We can't move our corporate headquarters to Milwaukee because they don't have enough of a core or foundation of students coming out of high school that are of advanced status when it comes to reading and math. So that harms all of us. So these numbers, well, I might have did a kind of a shoddy job of reporting them. The way they have this data set up, it's not easy to read. But I can see through most of it. It's not good in the core subject matter areas. And this would be discouraging for any corporation, company, or firm from coming to Milwaukee. And so that's going to ultimately hurt all of us. So we are hampered and we are dragged down by this poor performance. So before I start pointing fingers and assigning blame, I'm just looking at the raw numbers. Because if there's another business company or corporation that is looking at Milwaukee for their corporate headquarters, they're not necessarily going to assign blame like, oh, the black students are being discriminated against and, oh, there's harsh discipline policies. They're not going to see all that. They're just going to look at the raw numbers because these raw numbers tell a story. If you want a diverse workforce that is also highly educated and highly skilled in basic core areas of academia, you got to hire white students. And then we'll see more disparity, won't we, between black students and white students that are employed, or black people rather, and white adults and black adults that are employed in the city of Milwaukee. Because coming out of high school, they are performing better. And so that is going, and I don't blame an employer for wanting the best potential employees or those that have a higher level of proficiency in math. Like, why would you want, if your company needs to be profitable because you need the best people, the brightest people, the smartest people, and the people that have elastic intelligence, and elastic intelligence means if you do well in these core subject matter areas, or to be more specific, if you test well, you may have a kind of intelligence where if I throw you a complicated problem that you need to solve on the job, you might be better suited to solve some of these problems that you may see if you're working at this company, this business, this corporation, or this firm. And I guarantee that they look at this data and they have to be terribly disappointed because Milwaukee as a city with our amenities could be easy to sell. We're on the lake. There's a lot of recreational activities here. Cost of living is reasonable. Compare the price of a home in Milwaukee, a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath in Milwaukee, compared to Chicago or Minneapolis or somewhere on the coast, on the New Yorks or in the Bostons or in the LAs and the San Diegos and the San Franciscos. Milwaukee's got a very decent cost of living. When you look at things like housing and food, I know the price of groceries has gone up, but it's not like other places. But then when you look at the student performance and the workforce being so poorly educated, you'd almost rather locate your business, your company, your corporate headquarters in one of those more expensive cities because they may have better student outcomes. So these numbers hurt all of us. We're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
As a bull rider, I prefer to do things single-handedly. That's why I love the UW Credit Union app. Doggy! It lets me check accounts, make transfers and more on the go. And if I need an extra hand, UW Credit Union has 13 Milwaukee area branches. Yippee! So, if you want simple mobile banking, mosey on over to UW Credit Union. They're here for every y'all. Federally insured by NCUA.
Do you need CPR or first aid certification? A&E CPR has got you covered. With over 15 years in the health and wellness industry, A&E CPR is a trusted American Red Cross training provider right here in Milwaukee. Whether it's CPR, first aid, or AED training, A&E CPR classes give you the skills and confidence you need to respond to life-threatening emergencies. They offer online courses and in-person classes. You can even receive your certification the same day you complete the class. So visit anecpr.com to get certified today. That's anecpr.com.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Telly Hughes with his truth.
I want to stress the importance of a positive mindset. Everything begins as a thought before it ever becomes an action. So it's extremely important to purposely place yourself in positive spaces to help shape and nurture those thoughts. I know you're probably thinking, okay, Telly, let's be realistic. Look, I get it. You may work with people with bad energy, or you may even be related to people who are negative by nature. In this journey called life, there will be many things that come your way that's out of your control. But what you can control is how you respond. Understand this. You have the right to either tap in or tap out of whatever energy that may come your way. And that's how you can control and protect your positive spaces. The mind is where it all starts. And if your thoughts are centered around positivity, you'll see how things begin to transform. You'll see a noticeable difference between things happening for you versus things always happening to you. You begin to grow through situations as opposed to just going through tough situations. Make it a priority to surround yourself with positive people and create those positive spaces and begin to experience the fruits of what a positive mindset can produce. Trust me, it takes work to creating these spaces, and you have to be intentional about it. And I'm committed to putting in the work because I'm living proof that it's well worth the peace a positive mindset brings.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Well, thank you, Carrie, for that. Carrie comes in here and just disturbs my peace. It's coming in here messing with me. Speaking of disturbing peace. So I'm just going to let these numbers of graduation rates and chronic absenteeism and the racial makeup of students that are advanced and proficient in the core academic areas. I'm going to let that stand because that should enrage everybody. It really should. Because that's going to impact the entire city. You know, everybody wants, high-paying jobs, and you should, because everybody wants to make a lot of money. But if employers that would otherwise consider Milwaukee because of maybe our proximity to Chicago. Apparently, we have mild falls. It's 60 degrees the other day. Weather is decent. We're right on a lake. A lot of restaurants, a lot of entertainment. It really is a nice city. Downtown is relatively clean. We got a bit of a reckless driving problem, but it is what it is. But then if you look at who the potential workforce is in this city, unless a company, a business, a corporation, or a firm would come here with the intention to invest in public education. But why would they do that, though? They would rather invest in their workers and in their workforce. But if they came here and say, we want to make the public education system better, if they want to make a long-term investment in being a good partner, I'll say, in improving student outcomes, that's the only way that they would want to come here. But why would they want to do that when they can relocate to another city, another town, another county, where student outcomes and student achievement and student performance is higher? Because they might be wanting to have their own family in the city in which their corporate headquarters will be located in. And this doesn't bode well. Now, if you have money, these numbers mean nothing to you because you can pay tuition and send your child to a specialty school, to a private school, to a school that only enrolls certain types of students, students that have to score very, very high on entrance exams. So if you have money, none of this really applies to you. Now, culturally, it may apply to you, because if you are in a metro area with a disproportionate number of black students who are below basic and core subject matter areas, that is going to have an impact on the overall society. In some form or fashion, it's going to mean something. It's going to mean we're going to spend more money on corrections. We're going to spend more money on police. We're going to spend more money on traffic control and reckless driving. It's going to mean something. There are social impacts to these numbers being this low. Now, this is not a quick fix. And until every single person, even other children, are outraged by these numbers, and until we decide collectively, regardless of race, regardless of immigration status, that these young people are the future workforce of this city, and how these young people score and how they perform in school, because the data is made available every 12 months, and this data is available to everybody. And if businesses, companies, firms, and corporations are looking at this data and they're using this as many factors on whether to bring their 5,000, 10,000 person corporate headquarters to Milwaukee, if they look at this data, they just may say no. So lots of other people who might be qualified to work at that job, that business, that company, that firm, that corporation are not going to get the opportunity because they're not going to relocate their corporate headquarters here, because the future of their workforce is undereducated. I will say this much. Getting rid of the U.S. Department of Education or drastically defunding it or hamstringing it, which the Trump administration is likely to do, is not going to improve these numbers. Because it would be the U.S. Department of Education that would say, okay, MPS, you guys clearly need some help. You might need additional grant funding, or you might need additional federally funded programs that can help get black students to the advanced level in language arts and mathematics. Without a Department of Education, none of this stuff would be considered where the big pots of money are, and that's Washington, D.C., and the U.S. Department of Education. We would have to leave it up to the state of Wisconsin and our currently Republican-controlled legislature that we already know that they don't want to invest in MPS. In fact, when the legislature goes back into session, when the state legislature goes back into session, expect MPS to be divided up and busted up, not because it will improve student performance, but because I think they want to punish the district, because the amount of money that MPS gets compared to other school districts it's way heftier. And so there will probably be some kind of punishment from the Republican-controlled legislature to do something drastic with the district. And I don't think it's going to be for the betterment or the improvement of the district. How it's supposed to be is the Republicans in the Wisconsin state legislature that still have the majority in the Senate and in the Assembly, at least for the time being, they would see these numbers and they would say, oh, wow, this is terrible, because they also know that other companies, businesses, firms, and corporations from not just around America, but all over the globe are looking at these numbers. And it makes Milwaukee, which is the economic engine of the state, it makes us look unattractive. If we were running on all cylinders as the economic engine of the state, this should be our primary investment to making sure that student achievement and student performance is absolutely top-notch, and we should stop at nothing, because this is data that can impact the rest of the state. So the better Milwaukee does as the economic engine, we want it running on all 8 cylinders. Vroom, 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 vroom. Instead, with these numbers, Milwaukee ain't running on 8 cylinders. We need a tune-up. We need an exhaust manifold. We need shocks, brakes, a rack and pinion, a fuel pump, fuel injectors, a new crankshaft, a new camshaft. We need a valve job. Valve job is something sounds like Al would do. We're not running on all cylinders. The economic engine of the city, which is the performance and outcome and output of our students, is very low. We're not doing very well. Our engine is sputtering. You know how when you try to start your car and it doesn't want to start? I think that's where our economic engine is right now. Now, we got some good things. The transmission of Milwaukee is okay, but the engine ain't doing so good. We can shift gears well. We just can't accelerate very well. You know how you try to start your car? When Ricky be trying to start his car.
Now, why you just lie like that?
I remember you drove that big ass Suburban that didn't ever start. That
was like 8, almost 10 years
You
ago.
probably still got it.
I have a 2016.
Oh, well, look at that. You got
Not a Suburban.
A 2016 what, Ricky?
Jaguar.
No, you don't got no 2016 Jag.
I do.
No, get Guerra right. Show me a picture of it.
I don't have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have it.
But I don't have a Suburban. Remember you had that small car? It was a 2-door. What was it? Was it a
Chrysler Crossfire.
Yeah.
Convertible, Roadster. I love that car.
And I remember one day I was coming out, you was driving. I'm like, you actually like this car? You're like,
yeah, it was my fun car.
You said MF and yeah. And I'm like, you actually fit in that car?
Yeah, I fit in the car, man.
And you like, you know what? And you burnt out. It was fast, though.
It was fast. I'm not going to tell you how fast. Well,
do you still have it?
Hell
I know you had that car for like a long time.
I bought it for myself for Christmas in 2011, and I sold it in. I can only drive it in the summer. Everybody needs a convertible. If you're having a bad day and it's a warm 80-degree summer afternoon, you drop the top on your convertible, it'll make a bad day turn good. Problem was having a vehicle that you can only drive maybe 5 or 6 months out of the year. Well, it wasn't worth it. But I had an Audi A6, probably best car I ever owned.
Now that was clean.
Yeah,
that was very clean.
I think you knew me when I had a Mercedes. I had the black C-Class Mercedes. That was a headache too to maintain.
I remember that. I think I remember that one.
And then I had my Cadillac. I had a white Cadillac.
I remember that one.
Which
you really drove that one, though.
Yeah.
You mostly drove the Audi.
Cadillac I bought that car off of eBay. Bought off a white dude in West Dallas. In fact, that was my garage queen. I had a Land Rover, too. So I was leasing a Land Rover, and I was at work. I was at City Hall, which probably shouldn't be admitting that city workers don't do a damn thing but cruise the internet and not work. But I was looking on eBay Motors, and I saw this. It was a 1991 Cadillac Seville with 40,000 miles on it, and he was asking $3,500 for it. And I sent him an email. I was like, hey, I get off work at 5 o'clock, and if this vehicle is as clean as described, and if it looks as good as it looks in these pictures, I'm coming to buy it. So I went, had my guy pick me up from City Hall. We went to West Dallas. I bought the car. And it sat in my garage until my lease on my Land Rover expired, and I drove that car for 10 years probably. But the problem was it was so old. I sold that in 2015. I sold that and the Chrysler Crossfire at the same time. It was so old that there weren't parts readily available for a 1991 Cadillac in the year 2015. So if I needed a part, and it was still in fairly decent shape, it only had 90,000 miles when I sold it, but the parts were so damn old that it was really, really hard to source, regular wear and tear maintenance parts like suspension knuckles and that kind of stuff I couldn't find anywhere, so I sold it. And in fact, I sold it to the mechanic that maintained it for me. And I swear, after I sold it to him, I saw somebody driving that car like a year later, and I wanted my car back. I wanted that Cadillac back. However, I digress. Time to take a break. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The Truth app is home for all the Milwaukee Panther content you would want.
He'll dart baseline, and he will tomahawk it home with his right hand.
From conversations on the airwaves.
We're going to defend every board up the floor and every bounce and every pass. And we've got good depth, and you have to have good depth for the way we play.
To game highlights.
And at the top, rises for three over Young and buries it.
Find The Roar on the Truth app, Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts to keep up with Panthers hoops.
The Wisconsin Black Chamber presents Black Friday Weekend Diverse Business Expo. Friday, November 29th through Sunday, December 1st. We kick off Friday at 10 a.m. Be there to meet the Powerhouse Business Panel, learn their journey to success, and participate in a Q&A with these successful local business owners. The after party starts at 6:30 with the Legends of Soul, featuring the music of Frankie Beverly and Mays and Quincy Jones, performed by Christopher's Project. Saturday is the Black Chamber Music Fest starting at 10 a.m. with 7 musical performances by local bands. Then the after party starts at 7. Don't miss Poetry Unplugged with Kwabena Nixon. Sunday, the Wisconsin Black Chamber presents the Exposure Fashion Affair starting at noon. If you need some style or want a style of your own, be here. Check out Milwaukee's stylists and designers and join us for the after party. It's Divas of Soul, performed by Christopher's Project. Friday and Saturday, attend the Access to Capital workshops, and all weekend long, jam to the sounds of DJ L Boogie, meet TV and radio personalities, win some great prizes in the raffles, and don't forget to bring a toy for the toy drive. Don't miss out on what we have going on.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Garage doors giving you headaches? Best way I know how to deal with it is to call my friends at Geis. Family owned since 1955, Geis is the trusted authority on garage doors and openers in southeastern Wisconsin. Trust me, I use them too. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to match your exact needs. For fast, reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com or call 262-784-4250. GeisDoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Tired of having to decline food at a potluck where you don't know where the food came from?
Don't you let your cats on your kitchen counters?
Host your next holiday with Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, now booking holiday office and corporate parties, or perhaps a private chef for your intimate family holiday gathering, or add to your Thanksgiving meal. Pick up sides such as Southern-style cornbread dressing, candied yams, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and more. And for desserts, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie. Connect on Facebook or Instagram, Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, or call 414-216-3469.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I wish I saved more time for this story. Cudahy woman pleads guilty to possession in Oak Creek Kinder Care cocaine infant exposure case. I got to talk about this tomorrow. Will y'all remind me to talk about this tomorrow? I have to talk about this. I'll preview it now. This is outrageous to me. The Oak Creek Kinder Care worker, who parents say allowed their 1-year-old boy to ingest cocaine at the daycare, has pleaded guilty to possession. Passion Watson, age 24, of Cudahy, entered the plea on November 18th as a part of a resolution between the involved parties, according to online court records. Watson was facing 1 misdemeanor count of cocaine possessions with a modifier of it being on or near certain places. The court ordered Watson to serve 120 days in the Milwaukee County Community Reintegration Center, or the House of Corrections, with credit for 4 days of time served, according to online records. So the judge stayed that sentence, okay? This woman who had a baggie of coke in an area that was near this 1-year-old toddler's jacket. A baggie of coke. Leave your cocaine in the car. Leave it at home. Or leave your cocaine in your nose. So the 24-year-old woman, who has a 120-day stayed sentence, she has some community service she needs to perform, and she got 12 months of probation. In the details that I hope I go into tomorrow, I have a feeling I'm not going to talk about this tomorrow. So here's what happened. So the mother of the 1-year-old was called to pick her 1-year-old child up because the child was sick. The child was throwing up. So the Kinder Care said, hey, your child is sick. Come pick your child up. take your child home. Mother picks up her 1-year-old baby. Notices that the child has got like bruises and scratches and stuff all over the child. The mother takes her baby, 1-year-old baby, to the emergency room. They do a whole bunch of tests, whatever. Eventually the child, I don't know if they gave the child some medicine or whatever, the mother takes the child home. Well, at the emergency room, they did a blood draw on the 1-year-old child. Remember, the child had ingested cocaine, but nobody knows that yet. So when the emergency room personnel get the results of the blood draw, they see that there's cocaine in this 1-year-old child's system. Now, when the mother takes her child to the emergency room because the child was sick and vomiting, the mother didn't tell the emergency room personnel that she had picked her child up from daycare. Emergency room personnel thought that the mother had just brought the baby from home. So they do the blood draw. They find cocaine in the baby's system. Now the police and Child Protective Services raid this woman's house because they thought that the child ingested the cocaine at home. So then after the mother explains, they searched her whole house. Didn't find any cocaine. She's like, yeah, nobody here uses cocaine. Then they, from deductive reasoning, figured it must have been at the daycare. Well, eventually the daycare worker admitted to having an open bag of cocaine in an area where it was accessible to these children. This child now has developmental disabilities. They didn't state in any of the articles how much cocaine the child ingested, but the amount could have been fatal. This is a 1-year-old child. And I'd imagine there's some very good cocaine out on the street these days. That Colombian pure. And so now this mother, in her quest for justice, comes to find out, like the rest of us, that the woman who brought the cocaine to the damn kinder care, the baggie was open and left in a place where it was accessible to other children, is only getting 12 months of probation and a stayed sentence. 12 months of probation and 100 hours of community service. Now, that should outrage a lot of you, but let me be abundantly clear about this. For many, many years, African Americans have complained, and maybe rightfully so, that sentencing and sentencing guidelines were very punitive to African Americans because we're very good at measuring the disparity of jail time and prison time that African Americans get compared to other races. And because we yelled and screamed and complained about the excess prison time that we get for offenses, now judges just like, you're going to get probation. No, we're going to stay your sentence. But I think in this case, that woman should have done some jail time. Thank you for listening. Jamming with Juice is up next.
Truth Nation!
And all our Juicy Jammers